Anyway. All right, so here we are doing another prophecy tier list. Just a reminder, you can go to prophecytierlist.com and make your own tier lists. And this was made by the Twitch streamer Woody. You can go check him out. Good guy. And we are doing traits. This is going to be hard. I'm already looking at this like, where do I put some of these? I don't know. Some of them are so situational. Like even Aether. Like I'm just looking at the first one, Aether, and trying to decide where I want to put it. It's really strong. Aether can be really good because it drains mana. And everybody needs mana to cast their abilities. So if you can get these and you're just draining a Zeus and he can't cast his ult, then he's screwed. But it's not... I don't know. It's not a priority, usually. There's just traits that do better things, that feel better. So I usually just don't pick it up. So I guess I'll just call it balanced. Agility. Agility is interesting. It's good on hunters and assassins because it can apply on-hit effects and gives you a chance to hit more. So it can be good. I'm just gonna call that balanced too. Man, I'm already struggling. I do not like Arcane. I'm just gonna put it down here. Arcane is way underpowered or overrated. I'm not sure which, but I don't like it. Astral is one of my favorite traits. It does so much with so many things. It can be very strong with other traits like Thunder. It can be very strong with other items like Bonfire Bow. It can do it works with pretty much anybody with a major AoE ability. It's a very good trait all around. Block is meh. I've never really appreciated block. I've tried picking it up before. I just don't feel like I'm blocking things, right? I don't know. Like if I'm a tank, I'm gonna prioritize other tank traits over that. So I'm just gonna put it below average. Blood is fine. It's not amazing. That's a good point. Block equals less mana regen as well. Yeah, that is a good point. Blood, I don't hate it. I don't love it. So I'm just going to call it balanced. You just put this on hunters. But, clarity. Man, this is so hard. Oh, the traits might be the hardest one to do here. Clarity can be super strong. Clarity can be S. But it can also just kind of not be. Because what I usually do with clarity is I usually try to pick up at least 2, right? Because if you pick up 2, that's 40% chance to double cast your abilities. And picking up more than that gets you up to like 60 and 80%, I think, like that. I think is the tiers. I'm not entirely sure. And that's fine. But if you've got 6 clarity, then you're missing out on something, right? You're missing out on astral or wisdom or something like that. That would actually be giving you some more damage or getting your ability up faster. So I usually try to pick up like 2 clarity. I don't know. When this first came out, everybody was screaming about it. Everybody loved clarity, and they were pissed off that it was even in the game. Like it's just way overpowered. But I think people realized pretty soon that it's really not that bad. It's not. Putting defense down here with block. So defense isn't bad. Defense is fine. It gives you physical protections, and that's great for a tank or a fighter, because fighters get physical protections just from leveling up. The only reason I'm putting it down here is because physical protections aren't as necessary as magical ones, right? Like sometimes you can hit really hard with a physical unit like Hu Yi or Rama, but it's just not as a priority as a Resolve might be. Demon is good. It can be countered, obviously. And it's definitely pretty strong on Thanatos right now because he already has Demon in his passive, so you get double the Demon. And it's very good for keeping attack speed characters alive because they heal. Like a Demon on an Apollo and a Divine Intervention, that dude is not dying. I'll tell you that. But, it is what it is. Devotion, really strong trait. Especially if you have a lot of units that are casting a lot of smaller abilities because you heal every time ability is cast. Disarm is fine. It's good CC. Definitely worth picking up 2. pretty much any. I'll just go ahead and tell you this: if there is a trait where leveling it up, getting up to 4 or 6, only increases the time of the CC, I'm probably going to put it in A, because usually if it doesn't increase the chance of that CC, I'm not going to get more than 2 of them. Personally, that's just my personal belief. Because disarm gives you what, like a 30% chance. Hold on, let's look it up. I'm not going to say it and then I'm dead wrong. Yeah, okay, so I was right. Attacks get a 30% chance to disarm. And they'll disarm for a few seconds, and then as you level it up, those seconds increase. That's fine, but I'm not going to level it up. It's just not what I'm going to do. Earth is similar. Same thing. You have it when you have it on you, you get a chance to stun them when they attack you, but you don't increase the chance. So, Elite is definitely above average, and it might even be S tier. It is one of the better traits in the game. It is basically the counter to Poseidon, who has been overpowered for a few weeks. Elite is really good. I usually get it pretty much if I see it. Endurance is also strong. I don't think endurance is on the level of some of the. I'm gonna put elite up. Okay, I'll move elite up because that'll make me feel better. Endurance is strong. It's worth getting. It can definitely. It works really well with like Sanctuary, because Sanctuary gives you a shield based on your max health. So if you're getting increased health from endurance, that's nice. The other nice thing about endurance is it's not countered by anti-healing, right? Because you're not healing with endurance, you're just getting more health. So it's not like the anti-healing is dragging you down like it would drag down a Vigor or Wild or Devotion. Evasion is also very strong. Personally, one of my favorite defensive traits. If I'm getting a defensive trait, I try to go for evasion where I can. I think it's very good. Fire is strong. It can be super strong, but, you know, it's not nearly as a priority to me. Force is the same way. Force can be really, really good. And Force is imperative if you're building assassins. If you're building assassins for assassiny reasons, right? Like Sasano, I don't usually build Sasano for an assassiny reason. I build him to get his ult off and knock people up. So I actually build him more like a Poseidon, really, because I just want him to ult over and over again. I don't really care about what else he's doing. But yeah, and yeah, I would agree with that. Force is like Loki, especially because Loki now has a global passive that gives everybody that 20 crit chance. Definitely Force is really good on Loki. Haste is about as strong as a hunter item can get. It's a really coveted item. Trait, I keep saying item. Trait. Haste gives attack speed. I mean, it's pretty basic, but when you have good hunters, it's really good. Ice is kind of like disarm and earth. It's a good item. It gives you a percentage chance to stun. But when you level it up past 2, you're just getting more time on that stun, which it can be very strong. But I feel like if you're leveling this thing up to 6, you're missing out on something else. There's got to be something else you can be doing. Intelligence is good. I feel bad doing this, but I'm going to do it. I feel bad putting intelligence above fire, but because they're basically the same thing. They both, fire does percent physical, intelligence does percent magical. But the truth is, magical is more important in this game. Magical damage matters more, and that makes intelligence more important. Isolation, obviously a very good trait. It's a very weird trait because it's one of the few traits that limits your positioning, and that's kind of crazy, and it can be really awkward sometimes in certain games. I've definitely killed myself with isolation just because I couldn't position right, or I couldn't out-position my enemy because I had to keep the isolation up. So it can be weird that way. But it's also very powerful because it gives you a lot of protections, and it works very well with Metallic. Judgment is fine. I usually don't pick it up. You're talking about isolation being niche and easy to get? Yeah. Yeah, like, and that's the thing. That's true, and I would almost bring it down a notch just for that. Like, you're not going to get isolation every game, but if you are getting isolation, you're dedicating your game to isolation, right? Like, it's going to become the focus of your positioning. It's going to become the focus of the units you pick up. So isolation is a weird one, but I have definitely dominated games because of isolation. So I feel like it deserves a little attention there. Light, they brought light back. They brought it back and it sucks. Nobody cares. No, I'm just kidding. It gives crowd control reduction, and I've found that's really strong when you're facing certain comps that just have a lot of crowd control. I picked it up once and won a game with Poseidon because my Poseidon kept getting stunned, but this was lowering the stun time, and so he would be able to get his ult off and we would win. So it can be very good. It's definitely not nearly as good as it used to be, and that's fine because the other one was overpowered. Luck is fine. I don't see a lot of people picking this up. Luck is weird, all right? Because pretty much the only reason I can see to pick up luck is if you have an assassin leader that you want to build crit on, right? Because assassins have no way to build their crit the way other assassins... Assassin leaders have no way to build their crit the way a regular assassin does. When a regular assassin levels up, he gets more crit chance. So by the time you get like a 4 or 5 star assassin, he's got tons of crit. But at the same vein, that makes luck not something you really want to pick up because you don't want to put it on an assassin and then he's 4 or 5 stars and now this luck is useless because he's already critting every turn anyway. So it's kind of a weird trait to me. And there aren't a lot of assassin leaders that I bother to get crit with anyway, except Loki. Sasano and Thanatos, I really don't build for crit. I build for the utility of their ults and their passives. Metallic, very strong. Pairs really well with isolation. Goes really well with defense and resolve. Metallic converts protections into damage, which can... And you get to keep those protections. So it's really good on a tank because now you have this super tanky tank that also hits like a Buick. So it's very good. Molten, I mentioned before, it's not nearly as good as Metallic, but Molten converts health into damage, which is also really good on tanks because as tanks level up, they get more health. And any tank that gets to 5 star could really benefit from Molten because you get a huge boost to health then too. Or with Ambrosia, if you have that Ambrosia item and you have Molten, that's fun. Opportunist. Opportunist is an interesting one. The name fits the trait because you really do have to take advantage of the opportunities as they arise. Opportunist gives you more damage on crowd-controlled targets. Right now, it's super broken on Poseidon because they still haven't fixed that. If you have a Poseidon and you have Opportunist in your trait list, you should pick it up because for some reason, right now, you're getting the Opportunist bonus every time Poseidon ults, even though he's doing the damage first. So that's annoying. But you know what? Even after they fix that, it's still going to be good on Poseidon because he has such a wide stun with his ult that all your other units will benefit from Opportunist. Okay. Perception, also very good. Gives you damage reduction the more mana you have. Works really well with items with things that keep your mana up. Like if you get silenced, perception can be really good. It's kind of the counter to silence because it gives you... When you get silenced, you're not spending your mana, so you're just keeping your damage reduction maxed out. It's very strong. Poison. I'm going to put Poison, and I'm going to put Void probably in A. Anti-healing is very, very important in this game, especially if there's a lot of anti-healing traits, because there's a lot more healing traits than there are anti-healing traits. Poison is the weaker of the 2 anti-healing traits, but it can obviously be very strong. Soul and Arachne both apply poison, I believe, with their attacks. Resolve is very good. It's better than defense. Resolve gives you magic protections. And that's all it does, so it's good on tanks. Resourceful, I'm going to put up here. It's one of the mana generating traits, and there are very few of those, and it can be really frustrating when you don't get them. This gives you mana based on attacks, and mana is key to this game, so it's definitely above average. Runic does not exist. It's not in the game. They took it out. It was in the game, but it is not now. Sanctuary is very good. This gives you a shield based on your max health. It is one of the stronger defensive things, but one of the reasons I don't want to rate it too high is because it's still stuck at. Oh yeah. Poseidon's stun is still stuck at 4 seconds. I know it's stupid. I hope they're supposed to like patch that this week, but they haven't yet. I don't think. But yeah, once Poseidon gets nerfed, that won't be as big a deal. Opportunist won't be as big a deal either, but he'll still be pretty strong, I think. Sanctuary, as I was saying, gives you shield based on percent health, so definitely goes good on tanks because they get more and more health. Goes great with Stone of Gaia because it gives you more max health every second. But it's also extremely popular. Sanctuary is in your game and you don't see it in the first few rounds, it's probably going to be gone by the time you grab it. So I undervalue Sanctuary because I usually just kind of ignore it because I just expect it to be gone. Kind of the same thing with Clarity. I literally only get 2 Clarity for a reason, but sometimes that reason is I'm never going to see more than 2 Clarity, right? Silence, kind of like Aether and some of the other CC traits, it's situational, but it can be very, very strong. It's probably Zeus's favorite trait, you know? Spirit, I'm going to put in A. Mana generating trait, very good. Not as good as the other mana traits, I don't think. I would consider Resourceful and Wisdom to be better than Spirit. But it's still good, and especially if you can get 4 or 6 of them, you're generating a lot of mana. Thunder, I love Thunder. I'm not going to put it higher than A because it is just damage, right? Like, it's not giving you any utility. It's just giving you more damage, which is fine, and it's super fun. I like yesterday I had a game with Kerninos, and he had a bonfire bow, Astral, and Thunder, and that Kerninos was doing like 6,000 damage around. It was just hilarious. I love it. Vigor, I gotta put it with Poison, really. It can be shut down with anti-healing. No, we're gonna put it up. We gotta move it up. Healing is pretty strong in this game, especially because there are only 2 anti-healing traits. If those don't exist and they don't have a soul or arachne, your healing is going to win you a game. Especially if you have a leader with healing, like Hera. Hera plus Vigor, you're pretty much going to win. Void, they nerfed Void, so it's not nearly as good as it used to be. Still strong, 1 of 2 anti-healing traits. Get it if it's there. Wild is meh. It's fine. It heals you over time. I really like Wild if I'm running Athena as my leader because Athena's passive is basically Wild anyway. So more Wilds with her is basically just a stronger passive for her, and it's pretty fun. Wisdom. Wisdom is an S trait. I mean, it gives you mana at the start of combat. If you have Wisdom on somebody like Kukulkan, you're basically ulting as soon as the combat starts, which is crazy. It's really strong. So there we go. There's the traits. Once again, I'm trying to keep as many in A because that's where balance is. But there are some really strong traits. So I think this is pretty good. I think my wife came into the room and I didn't see her. But anyway, there we go. Those are the traits. I would be surprised if they don't nerf Wisdom, honestly. Of all the traits here, I think that one is due for a change. But, I mean, these mana traits are probably the best that you can... Usually, the ones that I prioritize are the ones that give mana, because pretty much everybody can use mana. And it's really kind of a struggle for leaders like Hera or Poseidon when they don't get that mana. But there we are. I think that's good. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm just looking over it to see how I feel about it. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Poor Runic. Maybe they'll put it back in the game. I don't know. They brought Light back. Light would have been up here in its old iteration. It would have been S+ easily. I mean, Light actually prevented you from being anti-healed. So if you had like Light and Devotion, you'd carry every game. It was stupid. New Light is fine, but it's definitely not that good. So we'll see. Anyway, there are my traits. Thanks for watching.